Michelle here from Gardening TLC. Welcome back, everybody. I am in Northern Illinois Zone 5, and I've got a great video for you today. We're going to talk about ornamental grasses, and we're going to talk about my top 10 go-to grasses when it's time to have beautiful color in the fall. Grasses are awesome. They create movement, color, structure, and texture in your garden throughout the season, but there are some that are absolutely, in my opinion, show stoppers. So this isn't just a list though. I'm going to give you design tips, care notes, and even plant pairings for these grasses. So if you're ready, let's dig in. We are going to kick things off and jump right in, and I'm going to start with a Panicum. Northwind is the one I'm going to start with. It's one of my favorite grasses. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think I love this grass because it is so stiff and erect in the garden, and it gives you such a great vertical form, not only during the summer, but in the fall and all the way through winter. This thing can handle wind and rain and storms, and it stands up, and it's totally awesome. In the summer, that blade is kind of wide and strappy, and it has a really pretty blue-green color to it. It starts to fade to a rich golden yellow in the fall, and the plumes on this don't start to come out until about the middle of August into September. It is a warm season grass, so it doesn't start to grow until the ground warms up, usually to around 55 degrees. So for me, that's like the end of May. I always want to make sure that I cut this thing back before the new grass starts growing. So for me, this is one of those spring chores that I have to get done. The other thing I absolutely love about this grass is that it is a native to North America, and it is deer resistant. It's drought tolerant. I don't have to fertilize it. It's a pretty low maintenance thing to put in your garden. It's growing in zone 3 through 9, and it's going to get anywhere from 4 to 5 feet tall, 2.5 to 3 feet wide. Now, this grass was actually named the 2014 Perennial Plant of the Year, and if you're planting this along a road, it can handle the salt spray, and it can handle wind, you guys. So it's also great in the back of a border. I like to use this as a border in narrow beds, or if I have like a big tall wall that I want to break up with some vertical height, I would love to put one of these in that kind of a situation. I also like to plant it with Rudbeckia, Echinacea, and asters. All of these go really well together. They're peaking at the same time. And you know, for a grass, it really performs in the garden, and I would highly recommend this one. Number 2 on my list is a Calamagrostis called Karl Foerster, and it is definitely a rock star in the garden. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's probably the most famous ornamental grass out there. It is dependable. It is tried. It is true. The centers don't die out. It's what I would call a medium-sized grass. It starts growing in early spring because it's a cool season grass. So that's why it doesn't die out in the center, because it never gets big enough to do that. Cool season grasses grow right when spring breaks. This grass gets its plumes on it by June, and then they start to age to that beautiful weedy color as we go into autumn. And look at that warm golden color. Isn't that great? So this is an absolutely fabulous grass. This was also a perennial plant of the year in 2001. This one is a clump forming grass. It grows in full sun. It needs good drainage, but I've grown it in heavy clay and it's done just fine. I think this grass looks best when it's planted in groups of 3 or more, or you repeat this in repetition, like in a bed, to draw your eye down the bed. It only gets about 4 feet high, maybe 2 feet wide. So it's not a very big grass. And I love that the centers don't die out. I love that it's drought tolerant. I don't have to really do a whole lot to this. Now, this grass I do not leave up in the winter. It's not stiff enough, and the first heavy snow that we get, it knocks it on the ground. So I typically cut mine down in early winter. That way it's ready to go for the next season. These pair up really well with sedum like Autumn Joy or Autumn Fire or Elsie's Gold, any of those tall stone crops, and it actually really looks good with Russian sage too. Another Calamagrostis makes the list, and this is the Korean featherweed grass. And if Karl Foerster was my upright pick, this Calamagrostis is my soft pick. The seed heads on this are really beautiful. They have a bottle brush shape, and when they come out, they're like a champagne pink. And again, the plumes on this are coming up above the grass. It has like an arcing habit to it, and they're really fluffy. I just love this one. Now, this one here, if you can sight this so that the light is caught either in front of it or behind it in the morning or the evening. It really picks up a lot of detail in this grass and it looks so cool. I think that you should place this in a path or a seeding area. You really want to see this grass and appreciate the movement of it in your garden. It does not get very big, only 18 to 30 inches tall, and that's the grass. And then you've got another maybe 12 inches with the plumes. This is a warm season grass, so it's growing in the summer, getting its plumes later. And as it ages, those blush plumes that came out first, they will age to a really pretty weedy color as we progress further and further into fall. I love picking these and putting them in my arrangements for winter and fall. We use them all the time. I have a lot of them growing. It is a little more shade tolerant than some of the other grasses, not full shade, but a little bit of shade it can handle. And it's growing in zone 4 through 9, and it's deer resistant. Next on my list is a Miscanthus called Gracillimus. And in my opinion, I think that this is one of the most elegant Miscanthus varieties there is. It forms large arching clumps of grass, and it's got really narrow foliage. Now, it's just a beautiful green in your garden while that grass is growing, and it is a warm season grass, so it's not growing until the ground heats up, and it does need full sun. Now, this is a big grass, so you've got to give it room to grow. Once the plumes are on it, which you'll start to see towards the end of August and into September, they come out copper. And they have like this coppery red hue to them. And they come up above that arching foliage. So you're going to add another, 12 to 18 inches to the height of this. So these can get anywhere from 5 to 7 feet tall, and they can get anywhere from 3 to 4 feet wide. So make sure you give them room. But boy, do they make a statement in the fall. Now, as you can see here, it's kind of do opposite of what you would think. So over on the right, you see those beautiful copper plumes, but then they start to age to kind of like a silvery, weedy color as we progress further into fall. Now, because this is an arcing grass, once heavy snow hits it, it's on the ground. So I do not leave mine up through the winter. I cut mine back and then it's ready to go for the spring. These guys are drought tolerant once you get them established, and they do need full sun. They're growing in zone 5 through 9, but they are very cold hardy and they are very reliable where we live. I'd say the number one thing to watch out for is with any big grass, eventually the centers will start to die out because the clump gets so big that we don't have light and air and everything else going into the center of the grass. So you might have to dig them up and split them after 4 or 5 years. These guys really look good with tall echinacea. They also look good with hydrangeas or sneezeweed. And I think if you have a really big border, these look fantastic in there. Number 5 is an Andropogon called Red October. Yes, this is a big bluestem, and the name says it all. This beautiful grass ages from deep green with burgundy tips in the spring to a fiery red stem and leaves by October. Actually, frost will encourage this to be more intense. It is absolutely gorgeous, but it's tall, 60 to 72 inches tall, about 2 feet wide. Now, this is going to be a grass that needs full sun in well-draining soil. It's got feathery plumes, and it really definitely adds vertical interest into the garden. I was out at Hoffy's nursery last week picking up some product, and these had started to turn color. It made me stop my car and look at them and ask what they were, and I'm definitely getting one to add to my garden someplace. I think that this is definitely one that you can use as a statement plant in a large border. And again, it's going to be beautiful next to hydrangeas, purple coneflowers, goldenrod, or even tall sunflowers or tall heleniums. I think that this would look great. They're drought tolerant, they're low maintenance, they're native to North America. I actually would leave mine up all winter so I have as much color as I can get. And even if this one ended up on the ground later, I think it would be worth it to leave it up. Now, this guy here is growing in zone 3 through 8, and it is deer resistant. So yeah, I'm getting myself one of these. The first time I saw this Sporobolus was when I was at Hoffy's last year doing a tour, and I've seen other prairie dropseed, but I hadn't seen the cultivar Tara, and I decided that I had to have this in my garden. So this year I have actually used some of these grasses in my fall pots, and I will be pulling them out and putting them in the landscape later. I absolutely fell in love with this one, and it is a clump forming grass, but it's a pretty small grass, only getting 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. It grows in zone 3 through 9, and it is deer resistant, and it is a prairie grass. So it's got this nice fine textured leaf, and it's green in the summer, and it turns gold with like orange hues in the autumn. It actually gets these plumes on it earlier in the season, and they're like this really pretty kind of pink brown color. I don't know, they're kind of mixed together and they blend and they look really good, but they actually have a smell to them. And the heads of those seeds, they smell like coriander or like popcorn. I don't know quite how to put my finger on it, but that's what I think I smell when I'm smelling it. These are awesome along the front of borders or in pathways. They look amazing with salvia, low growing sedums like some of those mounding ones that I'm in love with right now, and then also liatris. What else is there to love about this grass? Well, it loves the sun, it loves dry soil, it doesn't need to be fertilized. So that's pretty low maintenance, and we love that. Is anybody out there looking for a grass with really bright foliage and fluffy plumes? Well, lemon squeeze, that's the one. This is a Pennisetum that Proven Winners put out a couple years ago. It grows in zone 5 through 9, and it gets anywhere from 3 to 3.5 feet high and maybe 3 feet wide. It's got a nice arcing habit to it, and the color of the foliage is this beautiful chartreuse to lemon lime. And then as we go into fall, it starts to age to this beautiful bright gold. This is a really nice looking grass. The plumes come out probably right around, I'd say, the beginning to the second week in August. They start to come out, and they're copper, and they're so soft and fluffy. You just want to reach out and touch them. And any place I've ever planted this grass, people always want to know what it is because it's so bright and beautiful. Now, I think this grass is great if you can contrast it up against a darker colored foliage, but I also like it against other textures. So here we've got it planted with some yarrow down on the right lower corner, and then some agastache up above that, and then it's backed by some beautiful Tribola Rebeckia. So this is a great grass if you're looking for that bright splash of color, and man, does it stand out in the garden and look fabulous in the fall. Well, would you look at that? Here's some dark foliage that lemon squeeze would look fantastic next to. So this is an Andropogon gerardii called Blackhawks. It is in the big bluestem family, and if you're looking for some dark, moody foliage and you really want some drama in the garden, this guy is absolutely going to check that box. This has got an almost black fall color. It's especially striking when you pair it with warm golds or oranges. And it is definitely going to bring bold contrast and structure into a garden. Now, this guy here would look really good with Amsonia hubrichtii. I think that would look great. And I think Solidago would look really great with this as well. This is a native. It's drought tolerant. It is growing in zone 3 through 9. It's going to get 4 to 5 feet tall, and it's only going to get 1 to 2 feet wide. So you're going to probably want to plant more than one. And you can see I put a picture over here on the right that kind of really brings you up close into what those blades look like. But I think that this is absolutely fabulous. Here's a fun one for you guys. This one is the Bouteloua gracilis, or a blue grama grass called Blonde Ambition. This is a totally fun grass to put in the garden. It's very architectural. It's very neat. It's not very big. You can tuck it in. It likes dry conditions. It's drought tolerant. It's about as low maintenance as you get, but it's so cool looking, and it makes people stop and ask about it. It actually has these little eyelash-like seed heads that wave out horizontally on the blades of grass. They come out in June and they last through the season. The color of the grass is kind of a blue-green in the summer, and then it ages to like this tan brown color in the fall. So it's actually really pretty. They grow in zone 3 through 10, and they get anywhere from 1 to 2.5 feet high, maybe 1 to 1.5 feet wide. So not a very big grass. They're really nice in dry, sunny sites, rock gardens, front of borders. They look really cool with blue fescue. Here you can see it planted with some sedum and some lavender. I mean, I just think this is such a fun grass to put in the garden. Deer resistance, minimal maintenance. Yeah, a really fun grass to try. We started with a panicum. We're going to end with a panicum. Now, I think that this grass would be the colorful cousin of the Northwind, which was our number one grass that we talked about. We're going to end with Shenandoah, which is also a beautiful panicum in that the red highlights on the tips of this shorter growing red switchgrass actually hold their color throughout the growing season. As we go into fall, the tips of those grass, they get darker and more intense and turn like a nice, beautiful burgundy color. This is also a warm season grass, but it's shorter than the Northwind. It's only going to get 24 to 36 inches high. Now, unlike the Northwind, where the panicles kind of come up through the grass and they're all about the same height, the grass and the panicles, they're kind of all blending together. This one distinctly has its little panicles growing up above the grass, and they're very airy and very delicate, and they got this beautiful red color on them. And if you can backlight this, oh, the detail on this is fabulous. Now, this guy is growing in zone 3 through 9, full sun, deer resistant, and I think that this is one of the more beautiful fall grasses in that I love the structure of it. I love the height. I like the plumes that come up above it. And I love that deep burgundy color of the tips on the blades. Now, this is absolutely gorgeous with Japanese maples, sedums, purple dome asters. Oh, you can't go wrong with this grass anywhere in your garden. Well, there you have it. 10 ornamental grasses that not only will survive cold winters, but they absolutely glow in the fall. So whether you're after height, movement, color, or texture, there was something on this list that you could put in your garden. I am going to up my game on ornamental grasses. I absolutely love them. Now, if you want some long-lasting winter interest, some of these grasses are absolutely beautiful. Into winter, their seed heads catch snow beautifully, and they give you structure in the garden. Now, let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, and are you growing any of these already, or do you have one that you love that maybe we didn't talk about? If you like this list, give it a like. It just helps grow the channel. And if you're new here, please subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss our next video, and thanks so much for watching Gardening TLC. Remember, your garden doesn't have to shut down in the fall. With the right plants, you can make your fall garden absolutely phenomenal. So I hope you get your hands in the dirt today. I'm Michelle, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye, everyone.